Hello, what's up everybody? My name is Mike Brown, aka ReviewKingMB, and I just got done rewatching. This is my second time watching Devil, which is a 2010 film, which I know technically this isn't directed by M. Night Shyamalan, and I've been watching and reviewing M. Night Shyamalan movies, but I decided to do this, lump this in the collection because he produced the film, but not just that, he came up with the story. He basically gave the initial premise of this film. He was promoted. His name was all over the trailers and the posters. So when I think of this movie, I think of Mr. M. Night. The plot is we meet this group of people, was it like 5 people, who end up on an elevator. And of course the elevator gets stuck. One by one, they start to get killed off. And it's hard to tell which one of them is doing it, what exactly is going on. They even have a detective show up there, so the security, they're watching the cameras. They just can't figure out what's going on until they eventually realize that the devil himself is in the elevator with them. Now, what I think of Devil is I do not care for this movie. I don't. It's one of those films where when I first saw it, I was like, blah, whatever, moved on. And every time this movie comes up in discussion, believe it or not, it has come up a few times with different people that I talk to, they always talk about how much they enjoyed the film, how good it is, how much I need to rewatch it, because I always say I didn't like it. So now I decided to take them up on that offer, rewatch the movie for the second time, and I'm still not all that impressed. Look, the best part of this movie, and probably the best actor of the movie, is the detective, who's played by Chris Messina, he's a guy who some time ago, his wife and son were killed in a car accident, and you get a quick brief mention of him drinking himself half to death in a hotel room, just at the bottom. And now he's obviously better, though. He's in a better place in his life. He's trying to solve this case, and there's just something about the actor, there's something about him reacting to the situations, watching the camera of the elevator, trying to talk to the people, help them through it, that I buy. I buy the actor. I buy him in the situation. I buy his hard edge that came from the backstory. But let's talk about the main people trapped in the elevator, shall we? First, you have Bojana Novakovic. Holy crap. I don't know. That's her name. That's how I'm going to say it. She plays the younger woman in the elevator who, look, she's cute. So sure, you probably expect us to maybe not want her to die. The guys in the elevator are checking her out or trying to protect her when stuff's going on. I do like that while the detective is trying to figure out which person could be the killer, he's trying to look into their backstories, trying to look them up on files, and they all each have a reason or at least something that could make them seem like they would do something like this, or that they could be a killer. So there's that, but you also have Bokeem Woodbine. He's an actor that I don't see nearly enough, as much as probably should. He's just a security guard. Not much more to him than that. He's the one, though, that's like really claustrophobic in the elevator and is sweating like crazy and freaking out. And I appreciate that because I'm insanely claustrophobic. I think the reason why this movie fails for me, though, is because premise-wise, it should work. Premise-wise, if you say the premise to me or to anyone else before they watch it, it sounds like, yeah, that could be interesting. That could be creepy. And since I am claustrophobic, you would think I would be terrified, even watching people in a close quarters like this. And they try to have camera angles of the camera and people's point of view, and so it's zooming around, and it never felt small enough, though, for me. I've seen other movies that does take place in small, tight spaces, and it freaks me out, even just the idea of it. Hell, in real life, when I'm on the train or a bus or an elevator packed with people, I freak out. So again, this should have been scarier. This should have been nerve-wracking. This should have been more tense. And for whatever reason, it wasn't. It just felt like a silly old game of every time the lights flicker and go off, you know somebody's about to get killed. And it really just becomes a game of which one of them is going to bite the dust this time. And then when you start to see characters get killed off, naturally you're going to look at whoever's left and you're going to judge off of that, right? Another actor, Jeffrey Arend, he plays the salesman. He's the guy in the suit who is such a douchebag that you're really just sitting there waiting for him to get killed. Logan Marshall Green as the mechanic, he might be like the second best actor in the movie. He's super sketchy for the most part, but when you find out his story, when you find out that each and every one of these people have things in their past, bad things, and that's the reason why they're being put in the situation, his story is the most sort of sad and heartbreaking. So I think he sold, especially the end of the film in those moments. Jenny O'Hara plays the old woman, and come on, spoiler alert, I thought it was painfully obvious that it was the old woman because you put her in the situation and she's the old woman. She's the old woman. She's the least likely to be the killer or the devil. And of course, she's the devil. It's not a surprise at all that she's the one who raises up from pretending to be dead, her eyes black, and she's the devil and she's judging Logan Marshall Green. And like, look, I'm sure some people, this stuff worked. I'm sure for some people, the certain jump scares of the lights flickering and then you seeing an image and then it shuts back on, like it's supposed to be jump scares, but none of it got to me. That probably works for other people. That probably works for a lot of people who found this jumpy and found it scary. Jacob Vargas and Matt Craven, they're like the two security guards who's watching this on the camera, and they're occasionally talking to the people in the elevator. And then they even have banter between each other. Matt Craven, I think, is really good. Just a smaller part, but he's believable. And Jacob Vargas, he's the religious type who he even sees an image of the devil's face in the camera. I didn't mind him as well. He's the one who's like, it's probably this. No one's listening to him. No one's buying him. So there's elements like that that make me go, all right, this is slightly better than I remember. The detective is obviously good. There's some decent acting in there. You're selling me this as a horror movie, and I was never scared. I was never even tense. I was never nervous for any of the characters, and that's sad. The only other positive thing I can say, because I'm trying not to be too much of a dick, I'm trying to look for some of the good here, and the only other thing I can say is the very, very last scene where the detective, when he realizes that he was the one who killed his wife and kid, and he's basically face to face with the guy, he forgives him. And it kind of ends on a nice, happy note, and it's sort of like, wow, that's rare. Sure, 4 other people were viciously killed, but hey, I liked that we got some forgiveness and we got some closure for these particular characters. So overall, Devil, I'm not here to say that it's a good movie. I'm not here to say that it's M. Night coming back with a decent premise, even though it is a decent premise. It's just execution-wise, maybe if he himself directed it, or if a better director had directed it, it could have been better, should have been better. Let me know in the comments below, what do you think of Devil? Are you somebody who enjoys the film, or are you like me, or you're like, it's just not scary? Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Later!